This is the Ward 5 Concord City Council debate. I'm Tony Chanelif, the editor of Concord, New Hampshire Patch. Thanks for being with us. This debate is being sponsored by Patch, Concord TV, we're in their studios today, as well as the New England Take podcast. For the next 30 minutes, you're going to meet and take some questions and hear some answers from the two candidates running in Ward 5 for 2023. The candidates will each be allowed an opening statement of about a minute and then a closing statement as well, and I'll ask some of the questions in between. Let's meet our 2023 candidates for Ward 5. In alphabetical order, we have Stacey Brown, the incumbent, and we have Noemi Werewell, who is challenging Stacey. Can we do challenger goes first? Is that good?
Of course.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Tony, and thank you, Concord TV, for having us, and thank you for your commitment to covering our local elections. It's so important. So my name is Noemi Werewell. I'm originally from Duluth, Minnesota. I moved to Concord about 10 years ago to be closer to family. I've spent over 20 years working in public education. I started as a public school teacher in Newark and then went on to get a degree in school leadership and was a principal. And I've spent the last 15 years working at Teach for America, where we are focused on educational equity and leadership development. I currently serve as the Chief Learning Officer at Teach for America. As a Concord resident, I love my role as the head coach of the Bill Koch Ski League that we do in partnership with Concord's Parks and Rec. It's an incredible program. I've done this for the past 5 years, and we're really working to ensure more kids and families can be outside in the winter and be in relationship with the outdoors.
Stacey?
Great, thank you. Thank you, Tony, and thank you, Concord TV, and thank you, Noemi, for being here. This is a really important part of our democratic process. My name is Stacey Brown. I'm running for re-election in Ward 5. I'm a New Hampshire native and an Army veteran with experience as an English teacher, intelligence officer, analyst, and volunteer. I traveled the world serving our country and working in collaborative environments before returning to New Hampshire with my husband to raise our children in the beautiful city of Concord. I immersed myself in the Concord community, creating free and low-cost events that connected residents with the natural environment, each other, and experts in professional industries. As the Ward 5 City Councilor, I've continued to work to connect residents with resources while engaging them in the civic process and advocating on their behalf. I serve on multiple committees and attend as many community events as possible in order to understand the issues in Concord and be accessible to residents. During my term, I worked with residents to remove the costly and unnecessary construction of Langley Parkway from the budget. I also lobbied to create the ad hoc Gully Hill Road Committee, which led to the city negotiating a more profitable lease with an organic farmer whose Sunflower Festival attracted 15,000 people to the heart of our city.
Great. We're going to go with our first question. This is probably the most important one I could think of, and there's always really great questions to ask during election season, but you know, no matter what anybody thinks of Mayor Jim Boulay, his exit from the council after so many years is going to create not only a void, but the potential for a lot of instability. A new mayor's going to step in. There'll be at least 3 new city councilors this year. If you're elected, and we'll go with Stacey, if you're re-elected, we'll go with you first. How will you work to ensure that there will be stable council proceedings and governance if re-elected?
Thank you, and I just want to acknowledge Mayor Boulay's long service to our city. I have found since serving on City Council that he is wonderful at acknowledging everyone at the council when they have questions or comments. He is makes sure it's fair, that everyone has a chance to speak, and I really appreciate that. So I hope the incoming mayor also does the same practice with parliamentary procedure, where they acknowledge different voices and concerns and give people enough time to speak on those issues. And I'm really excited about the possibility of new faces bringing new issues to the council. So I'm excited to work with a new council.
Great.
This is a once-in-a-decade election. It's so important to our city. And we are going to have new faces. And so some of what I think is really important is that we must elect officials that are team players and can work collaboratively and can take in a wide a bunch of divergent views and build consensus. I also think that it's really important that we have high voter turnout. We've talked about this, Tony, only 17%. I'd love to challenge my other candidates to set a shared goal that this is the election where we have the highest voter turnout, and that is going to take all of us knocking on every door, not just the doors of the folks who voted in the last 2 elections. And then one of the things that I think is most important for the new mayor is to reestablish the Board of Ethics. I think it's really, really important that any constituent, if they have a concern about an elected official, there's a place to raise that and for it to be reviewed.
We should probably set up some sort of Keno arrangement where we can all bet on what the turnout will be. We might raise a little bit of money for, for a track or repaving or something. Okay. One of the strengths of the mayor, and frankly several councils now, has been to keep the tax rate around 3% each year. Tax rate increase annually about 3%. Last year it was around 4%. We have a new solid waste contract on the horizon, though, that's going to probably increase property taxes 5 to 8% on top of the 3 to 4%, which is, people don't really know what's coming. It's going to be a big sticker shock, I think. While there will be some personal savings with the end of the purple bag tax, property taxpayers now, including renters, are paying some of the highest property taxes ever in the history of the city. What would you do to tackle this problem? Let's go with Amy, please.
Thank you for bringing this up. This is going to be a really critical issue for our community over the next couple of years. I do think that we can reduce waste and save costs. I know one of the things that the city's been exploring is composting. Food waste is one of the densest things that we throw away, and that can actually, composting can actually reduce our cost by not having as much waste and be more environmentally friendly. I think the other thing we're going to need to do is do a lot of education with the community on just like the dimensions of the issue, where our waste goes, what we can do, what you can do as an individual household to reduce waste. And then on the funding, I think this is a really important place to listen to the public. The funding formula for trash has been everybody pays a little, and then with the purple bags, the more waste you have, the more you're paying in bags and throwing those away. And that's really a question about values and, who should have the costs of the trash and trash usage. So I think it's important that we really engage the public on that.
Stacey?
Thank you. And those are some great ideas. I love the composting piece. So I agree with Noemi. I think composting is really important, and also encouraging community gardens. But the trash is a big issue, and what I would like to see is I would like to see more residents involved in this discussion. We have a solid waste advisory committee. I would like to see these committees have regular meetings. We have some committees that don't meet frequently at all, and that's a problem because that's where residents have a chance to air their concerns and share their ideas. Public safety hasn't met in 13 months. Which most of our budget goes towards public safety. So I would like to see more meetings, more outreach. There's a wonderful Northeast Resource Recovery where they will go to schools and they will empty out trash and help educate kids on what gets recycled, what can be composted. So I think there are some creative things that we can do.
Excellent. Stacey, I want to stay with you for just a second. You were one of 8 votes in favor of increasing the fee for pay-as-you-throw bags. As I can tell you, probably one of the biggest issues besides homelessness and crime with homelessness of the last year has been not only the increase in the pay-as-you-throw bags, but the fact that they just really are terrible bags. Yeah. Now the reverse of that is it raised about $500,000 for the solid waste fund, but that also is about 1% of the tax rate. Wouldn't it have been better to, because we're going to be weaning them out anyway, getting new trash containers, right. Wouldn't it have been better to bite the bullet now, increase the tax to the 1%, put that into the trust fund, and gotten out of pay-as-you-throw altogether?
This I struggled with, absolutely, because we are going to see a massive increase, and it's the sticker shock. And so it was a way of kind of getting into it slowly. We would build up some of that revenue, so that it wasn't such a dramatic increase. There is going to be like a test run for about a year in a certain neighborhood, But yeah, we have to come up with other alternatives. We had a sweet deal for a long time. So I think the sticker shock and just going without bags would have been too drastic.
Same question to you. Would you have voted to continue with pay-as-you-throw if you were on the council? The vote was 7-8 against eliminating the program.
I don't know, actually. I mean, what I like about the purple bags, I'll say this, is that during the pandemic, we paused the use of purple bags, and we saw a massive increase in the amount of waste that was thrown out. And we pay for trash by the volume of that trash, right? And so I do think it's important that we have programs that incentivize us to throw less away.
The reverse of that is though that most of us during the pandemic didn't have to use 3 pay-as-you-throw bags. We only had to use 1 hefty bag, which because they actually worked. But you know,
Right.
I digress. Okay. No, Amy, this one's for you. Increasing the tax base has been mentioned as a first priority by a lot of candidates this year and also in prior campaigns too. Can you name 3 things you would do to expand economic development?
Yeah, I'm really glad that you asked that question. First, I think we need to grow, and attract commercial businesses, and I think we especially need to focus on commercial businesses in places where we have distressed properties. The Steeplegate Mall, it was once assessed at $65 million. It was just sold for 10. That's a massive loss in revenue for our city. So that project is going to be really important, and I think there's more projects like that we can support. Second, there's some incredible organizations that are have events in Concord: the Multicultural Festival, Black Ice Hockey, Downtown Market Days, our Farmers Market. All of that attracts people to visit our city, spend money, and it just makes it a better place to live and work. And third, I think we can do more to grow the amount of housing that we have, especially mixed income housing. The day I filed, I went down and set up the bank account, and the woman working at the bank said, I used to work in Concord, but I can't afford it anymore. So we need to make this more affordable for young families, young professionals, and low-income families too.
Stacy, same question.
Great.
3 ideas.
Thank you. So I actually would go smaller. I believe that we can grow our economy by investing in the people that are here and their entrepreneurial ideas. So I talked with different people at the Multicultural Festival, immigrants and refugees, and they are an amazing resource with the foods and the crafts. So I think we can improve our permitting so that we can allow food trucks to really grow our festivals, because we are the most diverse northernmost city in New Hampshire, and that is an incredible resource, and we should absolutely tap into that. I actually spoke with a hairdresser on Loudon Road. He has people coming from Vermont to have their hair done. I connected him with the CRTC at the school so that we can educate students in how to work with different textured hair, so that we can have other beauty shops that cater to this population. So when you get your hair done, you want to go out. So this is a perfect way for these small entrepreneurs to grow their business. So I'd like to tap into those the multicultural resource, explore our permitting so that it's easier for people to have not a mom and pop shop, but maybe a food truck. And also, we need to really tap into our natural resources. The Merrimack River Greenway Trail, we invest in that. We are going to draw crowds to our city.
I'm working on a story. It's just about done, but it's concerning crime by homeless people in Concord, which has really exploded to the point where last year more than 20% of the city's arrests were people who were homeless. Many of the charges were serious. They weren't vagrancy type arrests. There were many vagrancy type arrests, but drug dealing, assaults, arson, and even murder charges. Frustration has also been boiling over with a number of residents due to camping on private property and cleanup costs. Some of the camps have been described as hazardous waste dangers. Mm-hmm. Some firefighters won't go into the camps because they're booby-trapped. Mm-hmm. We've allowed this to basically continue. In fairness to all of you, if you're elected, you're volunteers essentially. You might be able to work to connect people to services. We're spending more money on housing, more money on mental health than we have ever in this state. At the same time, the public turns to the council saying, what are you going to do about X or Y? What can the council do more on this issue? And let's stay with you, Stacy, and then we'll go to Noel.
Awesome. So I want to touch on a point that I had made earlier about our committee. So we do have a steering committee on the plan to end homelessness, and they've met twice this year. So these committees really are opportunities for residents to come and bring grievances forward, ideas forward. So I think that as a council, we need to start hearing from people, the residents and people who are experiencing homelessness. So I would start there, because we need to, in order to address a problem, you have to talk about it, you have to face it. So they've met twice. I think we should be meeting more frequently. There's actually, I'm reading a book right now called Rough Sleepers by Tracy Kidder. So I'd like to have a community commentary and begin talking about this. I've heard different ideas about a campground. I'd like to look at what other communities are doing, but it's also bigger than just Concord. It's also the state's investment in this. So we do have to examine beyond just our municipal borders.
This is a really complex issue for our community and so many communities across the country. I think one of the things that the council can do first is just ensure that people who are in their homes can stay in their homes, and that they are able to access the resources so that they do not end up unsheltered. And then I think that the city plays a critical role in creating the conditions for collaboration across the police department, nonprofits, city services, to ensure that there is a unified approach, folks working together to support both the needs of our unsheltered population and to ensure that we have public safety.
Great, thank you. I'm going to wing this one because I just closed my file by accident. It's great to have homemade debates here. Okay. So there was some discussion earlier this year about paying for childcare, stipends to attend meetings, and even travel expenses for city councilors, board members, and attendees for boards. Noemi, just sticking with councilors for a second, instead of having the city pay for city councilors' childcare and other things, wouldn't it be better to just raise the pay of city councilors and let them pay for their own childcare, transportation, and other issues?
I think there's a lot we can do to reduce barriers for civic participation. And I don't think there's one single thing that the city should do. Concord is incredible. You can access just about everything our city government does on the website, but we can make our website multilingual. There's more that we can do. I've talked to residents already who said, I'm new to Concord, I know it's there, but man, there's a lot to wade through in order for me to show up at a committee member meeting and make sure that I'm there for the issue that matters for me. So I think there's a lot that we can do to help people engage. I'm certainly worth exploring a variety of things that support all constituents to participate in city government.
Okay, and real quick, since you didn't use your whole minute, but should city councilors be paid more?
I'm not running for city office because of the stipend. So that's something I think the city could explore if we think it would incentivize more people to run.
Okay, thank you. Stacy?
Yeah, I'm not running for the stipend either. It is nice because it kind of offsets coffee that I might be meeting with other people. But I think we have to look at what the barriers are for bringing some people to the council who have the lived experience that we're not hearing. And we need to have that input when we're making policy decisions that will impact those people. So I think we have to identify who we're not hearing from and talk with them about what would it take for them to participate. Is it childcare? Is it location? Is it Zoom? Do they have a computer? Do they need a car? Is it public transportation? So I think we can drill down to specifics and really look at who we're not hearing from and how we can include them.
Cool. Noemi, for you, one of our more liberal patch readers noted upon your entering the race this year that your employer, Teach for America, quote, despite its benevolent sounding name, has long worked to promote privatization in public schools, undermine teachers' unions, and generally disparages public school teachers. Is this true? And if not, how do you dispel the concerns of some of the city's more liberal voters in Ward 5?
When I was a Teach for America Corps member, I was also a union member. And our Corps members teach in public schools and across a diverse set of communities. And our Corps members teach in low-income schools. So I don't know where that person got their information, but I'd encourage folks to ask me about my views on public education in New Hampshire.
Stacy, during your first term as city councilor, you've been criticized for requesting sensitive information from the city, including at one point we discussed your request for memberships at the golf course. Mm-hmm. You were also admitted to contacting a city contractor to attempt to gain access to sensitive hiring information, which was a violation of the city charter. These requests, even though I know you have a background in intelligence, they kind of seem evasive. How do you convince voters that in your second term, despite your good intentions to get information, that you'll respect people's privacy?
Well, thank you for that, because I would like to dispel some of those. What I do is I like to verify information. So, and as an intelligence officer, as a teacher, as a mother even, you want to verify that what you're hearing is accurate. And so when I'm hearing about costs at Beaver Meadow Golf Course, I want to know who is playing there. Taxpayers are paying a lot for this golf course. How many Concord residents are using it? And I don't think that's unreasonable. There used to be a resident rate and a non-resident rate. So I would like to see us go back to that because I think that's valuable information. In regards to learning about the hiring practice, it was during the priority report, I believe, City Council priority report, and it was listed under, I believe, sustainability, and they had said that they were using this service. So I looked it up to find out what it was, and they had a number, and I called them up and I asked them, and they gave me very general information. And I was totally fine with that because I believe that we should be able to verify information that we're giving to the public.
Well, we're up against the clock, so we're going to go to closing statements. And let's see, we did challenger first before, so we'll go incumbent first this time.
Thank you.
When we have a little bit, so you can take, I think you can take a minute and a half.
Thank you.
Okay.
So there are many issues that need to be addressed: expanding affordable housing, ensuring access to community resources, maintaining public safety, eliminating wasteful spending, and developing the city in a way that provides maximum benefit for all those who live, work, and go to school here. We need to work on all of this together while also doing everything we can to address the climate crisis. I believe city councilors should be proactive in gathering information and expertise to solve problems, seeking out the input from community members who might not have the loudest voice in the room, the most money, or the most social connections. Everyone's voice matters. I work very hard to research the issues, to talk to people, and to be accessible. I am a member of 8 different committees, and I attend even more so that I can learn more about Concord, because I am learning just as everyone else is, and this is a constantly changing community, and I feel like we have to continue to talk to people, to be available and accessible, to learn what their needs are and how we can best address them. Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, this is a once-in-a-decade election, and it's so critical that our voters elect city councilmen that are going to work together as a team, that folks that are going to listen, really listen to a broad set of issues, take in divergent views, collaborate, and build consensus. I've worked for 20 years in public education, and nothing gets done without a broad and diverse coalition of people working together to move things forward. And this election is an important moment for us to build the team that is going to set the course for the next 10 years. My most important message, though, is please, please, please vote. Your city government does so much that touches your life every single day. It is your green space, it is your city services, it is your sidewalks, it is your roads, it is the plowing, it is your trash. it is your police force and your fire department. I really hope that, given as important as city government is, that everyone will take the time to really dig in on the issues that matter to them and vote on November 7th.
Thank you both. So Election Day is Tuesday, November 7th. Patch's online voter guide will be up about a week before the election, sometime probably. I'll probably have it up before Halloween. It's a scary thought, I know. Voters will cast ballots from 7 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock in the evening at the Krista McAuliffe Elementary School. Be sure you get there at least by 6:59 because they do close the door. Don't be late. For Concord TV and the New England Take, I'm Tony Shanella. Thanks for tuning in again. We'll see you next time.